Welcome back, Guardians. Uh, so, yesterday spent the evening looking through some YouTubes, and people are talking about how Twitch is going with some more dumpster fires again. Apparently, there's this initiative that's floating around to either allow all content or restrict all content. So, and it all has to do about controversial politically, religiously driven. I mean, when I say religiously, I also mean politically. Let's be fair. It's everything about it is all politics. Doesn't matter if it's like you support Disney or you support Universal or you support Sony. Actually, Universal has no claim on anything Marvel really does it anymore. No, it doesn't, does it? So it's like, are you a Sony Marvel? Are you a, MCU Marvel? Um, that kind of stuff is politics. Are you a Hasbro or Mattel person? That's politics. Are you Christian, Muslim, or Jewish? That's politics. Believe it or not, it's all the same shit. So anyway, Twitch is going through those kinds of growing pains again, and of course, the classic clickbait type videos are out there. Like, X is going to hate. Well, not I shouldn't say X because that means Twitter now. uh, A hates this because B loves it kind of situation, or the gap faced uh, thumbnail and stuff. So it's like, avoiding those triggers. Um, I did find some pretty decent reports on the whole, dynamic of thing that's going on there, and yeah, it's kind of sad. I personally never. I when I first started streaming, it was only on Twitch, I believe, because it was a Destiny challenge. Do 70 hours, non-consecutive, of course. You do 70 collective hours of streaming of your gameplay in Destiny. You got an emblem called "Can't Stop the Signal." And those of you who have been around my channel for more than a few years will remember how much I bitched and complained. How hard is it to bring that forward into Destiny 2? So people in Destiny 2, new players, can see, hey, here's a guy who was so into the community and so much into the game and enjoyed playing so much that he committed to this challenge to stream his content. And it kind of gave me the bug that I have been, scratching the itch that I have been scratching ever since. But shortly after that, I discovered that YouTube did live streaming as well, directly from the console. And I was like, let's do that instead. I mean, the emblem was, I think, directly related to Twitch. That was its requirement. But after that, and here's the sad thing is that at the time, because I was not a premium member, I guess, or a vetted member, my videos didn't stay up. I could choose to save some. I think there might actually be one or two out there. I don't even remember what the handle was for Twitch. I think it was Hakobot. That's Hakobot. If you look it up on Twitch, maybe I'll do that actually while I'm sitting here, doing this stuff. Um, but yeah, that's kind of sad. Uh, and other news, tomorrow is Halloween, and I think that it's great for those of you out there who celebrated on just the 31st. Have fun, be safe, um, and try maybe to sit down with your mobile device as you're gathered around whatever gathering you're in. And while everybody else is staring at their little black mirrors, you can go ahead and look up what it is to be. What does Halloween really mean, and where is its origins, and who influences it, who benefits from it. That's the kind of thing. Those are the questions. Those are the two questions that I ask myself in any circumstance. Who influences this, and who benefits from that influence? Because once you follow those 2 points, you can easily come to the third point, which is how should you interact with it, and is it something you should even bother your energy with? And that's the triad, the triangulation of discourse and you know engagement kind of situation. It's also a really good method that I've developed because of all the years, decades, literally, of running tabletop role playing games. And it's sad that I have to say tabletop because RPGs have become so ubiquitous within the video game era, within the video game platform, that they now own the actual core descriptor of RPG. When you say RPG, most people who do gaming will immediately think of video games. But even me, having more or less. No flex here at all. But because I am old enough that I remember when an RPG meant actually just that, a role playing game that you did either in a class, in a theater class, or in a psych class, or in a writing class, uh, and or with dice and graph paper on a tabletop with your friends. Although actually the majority of the games I would play were true theater of the mind, barely rolling any dice whatsoever. If the players described a situation in detail enough that I would be like, yeah, that sounds like it happened, then I'd let it happen. If it sounded like there was a risk to it, then I would apply the risk to it. They didn't need to roll most times, and that's how we played. And it was Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, it was DX or Bet Me if you want to, or White Box, or what do they call it? Old School Essentials basically is you know the basic expert rule set of Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, it was. That's because D&D at the time had rules that were simple enough uh, that apart from combat scenarios, it was really easy to just to go on the RP of everything you want. So, wow, that segued out of here. But no, there's a thread here, believe it or not. So, about a month ago or so, a channel that I follow, Gray Army Gaming, who does all these little gaming channels. He does game mechanic reviews, system reviews. He's got a few. He started off as a solo gaming channel, but he also does group gaming channel reviews and things like that. He came up with a method to solo role play, and you can actually anything you can solo, you can also group. Not everything you can group can actually be soloed, but well, actually, you can. I have actually come up with a system that you can pretty much solo just about any tabletop game out there, including chess. Believe it or not, it's a bit more complicated, but it is doable, and it does provide a very challenging experience, and it's fun. Well, that's really what it's all about. It's like you want to play a game, but there's no one around, so you go ahead and you can do this solo thing. So anyway, what he does is basically bibliomancy, or what Geek Gamers, which is also a gaming channel that I follow, what she will do is she has you have the oracle and you have the conjecture tables. And what a conjecture table is basically a set of tables that generates a noun, a verb, and modifiers to both, like adverbs and adjectives, based on intensity of the situation. So the noun table might include all kinds of things. It could be objects you find in a room. It could be uh, people you encounter in a tavern. It all depends on where you're playing and what you're playing. Um, and of course, then the verb could just be, things you would do with those nouns, or because of those nouns, or those nouns would do things because of that. Um, and most conjecture tables in solo role playing systems or books will actually say, they will be tailored to that. So anyway, his little uh, his little method was to basically make this little frame that would block out the majority of the page, except for this small line that would fit about a dozen or so characters in it, and you would use that as your word picker. Whereas the classic version of this is you just flip the page open, put your finger down, and plus or minus however many phrases around that word that you picked make sense for yourself. So, for instance, right now I have this book of poetry that I got from my eldest, and she had a yard sale. She likes to visit these things that are called tiny libraries. They're all across the nation in different neighborhoods. Basically, it's take a book, we can leave a book kind of scenario. It's all on the honor system, of course. But she had picked up this particular tome, and she was going to go ahead and just donate it into the thrift store or take it to the tiny library. And I was like, hey, what? I'd love to take that home and use it in some of my gaming and art generation, because I use bibliomancy many times, not just for solo gaming. When the conjecture table that I'm given in the system doesn't seem to quite fit the scenario that I want, I'll find a book on my shelf that's seated within the genre that I want to play. I need to switch over to Fusion Rifle and get my murder on here. Yeah, seriously, guys, come on, relax. Man, for a bunch of numbers, man, they really do kind of get out there. wreak havoc. Um, so yeah, so the classic method is just pick a page and go for it. So I started thinking to myself, this is kind of fun. So I was using this poetry book, and I had this like, just to test it out, based on the wording, and it is poetry based on the time around COVID 2019 to 2021, um, which includes many politically charged events from those few years. I can remember a time even when YouTube was like, if you said COVID on your channel, that you're going to get that video struck or demonetized or something like that. I'm not monetized as far as I know. I don't think there's any ads that show up in these videos. I haven't watched back anything in a long time, so I don't know if there's going to be ads or not. I found out that if I don't murder the boss here right away, that I actually get more ads, so I can complete my gunsmith bounties better. But here, okay. This is new for me, so I'm focusing a little bit here, dividing my attentions. Nobody is a multitasker. Anybody who says they're a multitasker, list that shit on their resume. If you're out there, HR, and listening to this by any chance whatsoever, they are full of bullshit. Basically, what you could say is that they're efficient stack taskers. And that is directly related to my experiences having played decades of Magic the Gathering. They have a thing called the stack, which was introduced about 20 years ago. Um, and it is all about priority, which spells go off first as opposed to what other effects are in play, interacting with the game state. And I like that concept better because that's true. I mean, even your computer, uh, because you have finite resources, be it bandwidth or memory, even virtual memory, it'll prioritize whatever frame is open first, and in the background it'll still run those apps or those programs or those files, but it'll be at lower speeds and less resources being used. So even though technically we are more or less multitasking in the context of the term used, being that you are effectively making progress or making effective progress or forward momentum is maintained in your efforts. No, not really doing that. Not really doing that. Because as I am facing forward, everything behind me is being ignored. Even if I have a radar up, it doesn't make a difference. Um, I'm just trying to do shit. So anyway, so Grey Army Gaming had this really neat idea using bibliomancy, and I started thinking to myself, and I was using the this COVID poetry book in a similar situation and getting some really cool results out of it. By the way, I think poetry books might actually be my preference now, which is great because I have like the completed works of Edgar Allan Poe, and there's a bunch of poems that H.P. Lovecraft also wrote. So I've got the grim and dark and the goofy and eldritch, and I call it goofy because honestly, HP's work is psychological horror, which is really intense and disturbing. But a lot of it can also be very campy and goofy because he wrote that era. That's the era of pulp fiction, uh, weird tales and things like that, speculative fiction or things like that. And things like that is your phrase for the day. Everybody, oh, sorry, no. Um, but so yeah, some of it can be kind of campy and goofy, and that's perfectly fine to call it that. It doesn't take away from the fact that it is very disturbing. Some of the stories are very disturbing. Some of it goes right straight into body horror, which can be a little bit gross for people. Uh, but point being is that so I started going through this poetry book, and I was like, it's all lyrics are in a song is also poetry. So then I started thinking to myself, wait, I'm kind of pretty eclectic CD library. Yes, I have a CD library. I used to have a really vast MP3 library, but in an effort to be helpful in moving those files from my thumb drive to the cloud, I ended up losing 90% of my music lists, and at least 40% of what I lost are CDs I am afraid I may have sold to pay bills, which is something that I swore I would not do anymore, regardless of what it is that I'm selling. And only sell exactly what you really don't feel you're ever going to want to listen to again. Now, And here's the irony is that as you age, your tastes will do change. They will not necessarily evolve, but they will change. They will shift. So I used to really be a big fan of Led Zeppelin, uh, and then as I got older, I realized that there's only like three songs that they have performed that I actually give any shits for. And yes, one of them is Immigrant Gap, Immigrant Song. Uh, Immigrant Gap is a area here in California. So I was just, yeah, I'm thinking about the state of California because it's coming up on election day, and we have some major things to think about when voting. I'm not going to get into it because that's my own personal choices. But anyway, point being, um, so I started thinking, hey, what if I grab like 5 or 6 CDs and then using some kind of number generator, go down the track lists and use the songs as the overarching theme for a session to play. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to stay in the realm of solo gaming. This could actually go straight into any kind of, creative effort, whether it be a collaborative effort like, RPGing, or it could be, uh, you could be doing it for like filling in pages in your art journal, your writing journal, or just to inspire, a topic of conversation. And I think that that's something I didn't think about until this afternoon, or this morning actually, while I was in the car listening to some songs and thinking, oh, this would be a cool thing to do. So I've come up with 2 songs that hit the radio in my time just before getting on. One of them is a Doors song, the title of which I don't remember, and I don't really care because I'm not that big of a fan of the Doors. Once upon a time in high school, I really was. Um, but a Hills on Fire, Lover Liar, Mr. Mojo, and I can't, I would, yeah. 20 years ago, I would totally be able to tell you what the name of that song was. But the other one is a Rolling Stone song. And again, don't remember the title. I don't listen to this radio station very often, and they play a lot of classic rock that I used to be a big fan of, and just kind of like I like the songs. They're still nice songs. They're not in my rotation. So knowing their titles and recalling them is not something I care about. But yeah, it's Start Me Up. That was it, the Rolling Stones song, Start Me Up. And so using those two, I came up with the plot, or the narrative arc of a jilted lover setting fire to the property of the person that scorned them. And somewhere along the line, there's going to be necromancy involved. So this will be a dark fantasy story, and then there'll have to be some kind of an escape. So those are the three acts arced out there. And Act One will be, the figuring out what started the fire and why and who and all that stuff, and who's the effect. In other words, who's influencing it and who benefits from such influence. Act Two will be the discovery of a necromancer involved somehow or another. And then Act Three will be some kind of escape. Either the heroes will have to escape the bad guy, or the adversary in the story, or the adversary is trying to escape the hero. We don't know yet. And this is one of the things about when you solo game, especially an RPG. You go in with suspects and suspicions, and it's good to come up with about 2 or 3 of them, and then using those as guideposts helps you, construct the conjecture roles a little bit easier. Also, prompts you to ask the right oracle questions, because yes, you can't ask a bad oracle question like, does this shank have a +3 ring of fighting in it? And if my odds are always going to be higher than it's yes, then I've just set myself up for success there. But what I didn't realize is that the conjecture table, the spider tank is noticing me, and because I'm taking too much time thinking about the shank, I got shot, killed. See what I'm saying here? It's kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of all really I wanted to share. Again, like I said, it's just pulling inspiration from everything else around me. Taking those 2 songs, I've come up with a pretty cool little mini story that I can play a character through, or possibly even take one of my players and put them through, culminating, of course, in a grand battle where you'll have a chance for me to further playtest my miniature combat game, which I'm really excited for. Uh, Getting to the point where pretty satisfied with the mechanics. So now the route is all established, we can start thinking about uh, pruning and guiding the limbs. It's kind of like bonsai, as you can tell. That correlation there. I want that. Oh, it didn't get me. Where should go this way? I'm pretty sure I completed the gunsmith at least. Yep, we did. All right, so we're gonna go off into the nightmare sectors. Probably not gonna drag you guys along to that because it's like I said, by day two, like I said yesterday, by day two I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a fucking grind. I really don't know what I'm chasing here. What's on the goodie list? Can't really see this. Oh, the Bookworm 3. It doesn't tell. I wish it would tell me what the Tales of the Forgotten Used Manifested Pages. Nightlight. That's what it is. Okay, so then we go to collections. Look under equipment. Go to Sparrows. Go to Revenant. Ooh, yes, I got the Zerf board. Where is the Nightlight? Here she is. Uh, I don't know. I like the lines, but it's just not me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. It's just not where I want to. Not where I want to sit in that particular environment. So we got some other things in here. We got lore tabs now, of course. Wow, got picked up a few. 'Cause I did the book thing. All right, kids. Well, that's gonna do me for now. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing, but I'm gonna be kind of offline unless something else sparks up in my mind. So yeah, if you are in fact a solo role playing gamer or just a role playing gamer in general, uh, grab some of those poetry books and or music albums, and just your inspiration is all out there. It's just how you funnel it. Till next time, be nice, play well, enjoy your Halloween. If in fact I will probably not be online tomorrow. Uh, but yeah, thanks for stopping by and hanging out.